In the before time, before there were blogs and vlogs, there was WMAC's living diary on the plane or on the road with the family on vacation. Enjoy trivia, funny family banter, and a little music from radio stations that were new to us as we traveled around the nation and beyond. So let's go and hit the road or the runway as WMAC presents The Living Diary on Macintosh Fever.
9:19 right now, just left, and we are on our way to Niagara Falls, and we're shuffling off to Buffalo.
The guy at the desk told me 4 hours.
4 hours?
We all agree.
And I'm unanimous in that.
That was the trip to the guys, the pictures, 4 hours.
Mm-hmm. Captain, we found a singer in the attic. Make it so. Oh, Captain, I love him. Engage. I am Worf. This is my son, Dwarf. And that's our traveling... Worf and Dwarf. And that's our traveling joke show. Stretch.
I'll squish your wife. That's how you spell it. Legroom.
Well, instead of steerage, now we're in coach.
Right. Can't get first class out of this.
No.
Straight these bags.
10:05, and we are going through Syracuse right now. And the temperature is rising, and actually I see clouds dead ahead, but looks like it's going to be a lovely day, hopefully. Look at them go. Traveling music, some of the songs that we heard on the plane when we were flying and monitoring the FM waves at 10:13 in the AM. Lots of RVs and trucks on this road heading out of Syracuse. Have you ever heard so much compression in all your life? Well, we've had a lovely stay here in Utica. We were going to stay in Oneonta, but Oneonta was south, 35 minutes south, and we were heading north, so we don't understand what happened when the AAA lady tried to make our trip ticket. Well, it is now 10 minutes of 9, the 23rd of September, 2K2, and we are going to be on the road for about 3 hours heading up to Niagara Falls. The weather right now is kind of partly cloudy, and in the 60s, we had a thunderstorm last night, and it was some pretty wild rain. We'll have more music on the way, too, in the Living Diary.
Tape recorder.
All right, okay.
I'm going to borrow her tape recorder. I'm going to play it during the night so you can hear it. And you'll know it's not me.
Well, Caitlin moved out of the connubial bedroom.
Well, the thing is, I remember living in the loft and hearing Mike snoring through his closed door, reverberating, and then Dad snoring, and then you snoring. Anyway.
You snored too.
Yes, I know. That I know. And I freely admit that. Because I have a mildly deviated septum, according to my doctor.
I snored too. I don't think that was loud.
But Michael, he was loud enough when I was at the other house.
Yeah.
But sleeping next to him, oh my gosh. Please clear away from the blast zone. Warning, warning. I had to create a pillow sandwich.
So you did sleep last night, that's what she's saying.
He did sleep probably better than I did.
You were up like a light.
He's very lucky.
Do you ever wake yourself up?
I'm not from snoring.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Because I wake myself up sometimes.
No.
I hear myself like, oh!
No, I didn't know that I knew I snored. Probably to drown out Greg.
What racket?
I said Greg, not racket.
Oh, Greg. Oh.
He's going to sleep after.
Oh, you should go to a doctor about that.
He doesn't breathe. He stops breathing while he's asleep.
That could be scary. Part of that may have to do with the smoking, too.
That reminds me he wakes himself up. It reminds me of that movie with that crazy English comedian with a funny looking face.
Benny Hill.
You don't know what Atkinson. Is that who it is? He was in that movie that they had a race.
Yeah, rolling.
And he was standing in the hotel like this, sound asleep.
Yeah.
He had apnea. He was standing there.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was racing around. And
that's narcolepsy.
That's narcolepsy.
Oh, narcolepsy.
Yeah.
That's right, narcolepsy.
Sleep apnea is when you stop breathing.
Right. So he had narcolepsy. They're all surrounded around. He's like this, sound asleep, standing up. He was funny.
I remember seeing a dog on TV. He had narcolepsy too, and he's running around playing in the yard, and all of a sudden, flop. Then he gets back up and starts running around, flop. It was like, what?
302 miles to the end of the state.
How much?
302 to the end of the state.
And then we fall off.
That goes up into Canada. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. No, that goes into 90. That goes into, what's the next? Is it Ohio? What's the next state? Or Michigan? Ohio.
Or Illinois.
I think it's Ohio.
Big enough.
Your towel should be big enough. Yeah.
It should be absorbent.
Oh, I got a stiff neck during the night from the pillows. I had to bend down on one pillow.
Those pillows were crinkly. They were wrapped in some plastic. Those bags. Those anti-allergy bags or whatever.
I don't think so. I think it's for non-contamination. They can lighten the bags off.
But they're so stiff.
They make noise when you move.
Yeah, they go crinkle, crinkle, crinkle.
We were lucky we woke up this morning. Our clock was blinking.
Oh, yeah, the
Well, mine
power
was
went
blinking
off.
too.
I asked the guy at the desk.
But the alarm went off.
Would they lose their
I
electricity?
turned it on.
You did?
Yeah, they lost their power for about 20 minutes this morning.
Oh, well, that's what it was.
I was hitting buttons and the music went on, and then I couldn't shut it off.
You got
Yeah.
up right away. You got up and got showered and everything.
Well, I didn't shower. I don't like
Oh,
showering.
you didn't shower.
I just happened to wake up because I heard people walking through the hallway.
Oh, yeah, we heard
I don't know what time it was.
There was one group that walked by. It was really early. That was before I asked you what time it was.
Yeah.
Did you hear this? We must have.
I heard there were two different groups that I had
Right.
heard. One,
And that first group, they were just plain old rude. Yabba.
We woke up right at 7:30. It was amazing.
I just happened to wake up and look at the clock, and it was like blinking at 3:50 in the morning or 3:05 in the morning or something.
And that's when the second couple.
I shut the TV about before 11 o'clock.
4:11.
Yeah, I think it was like 20 minutes off. I just couldn't stay up any longer, and I slept till 5 o'clock in the morning because that's when I looked at the clock.
It's antenna jewelry.
I mean, there's no way that you can get.
Take a look at the
Oh
decorations.
my God! It's
Now
not
look at the face. Look at the dial.
It's a hologram.
It's a unicorn.
Yep, I see it.
It's great in the sunlight.
You can't tell who calls you though.
I can see it. You have to look at it a certain way. Isn't that neat?
Yep.
It keeps the display from getting
I
scratched.
think if you lower rate, even though you probably touched it.
You got a bubble here.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't get rid of that. Don't try, because if it peels off, it might not.
Blow us
No,
off.
no, I thought it was like an
Yeah,
air
but that's
bubble.
my problem is I don't even want to talk to you guys. I says, I know I probably should.
Pay for what?
Your phone.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Full signal, but it says extended area.
I don't know what that means. But it's either off or on with mine, because I can choose to have it only work in Sprint or Sprint and roaming.
So you have your charger with you too?
Yeah, I have the AC charger in the suitcase. And we're listening to Light 105.9, which is kind of like Magic 106 FM, and playing all the old standard familiar songs from the 80s, 90s, and mid to late 70s. This is cool. Cool 107.3. They got the disco beat going on. We got the mirror ball spinning in the back seat and steerage. Put on your boogie shoes and let's travel. Hit me now. Or don't hit me. Your booty. Shake your booty.
Shake, shake, shake.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. You fat booty. Woohoo.
What's eating you, boy?
Lunch break, lunch break.
It's more than a snack. It's a full meal deal.
You eat what you like, I'll eat what I like. Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball.
Call us now.
The 80s lunch on 105.1 The River.
I lost on Jeopardy.
Looks like it's heading.
Baby. Welcome to the Living Diary. Still not in Canada yet, but we're going to go on Route 182.
I got it here on this little map.
Road.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo. Domo. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo. Domo. Domo arigato.
We are still in New York State, so what was this, 1982? Jeez.
Can't get too lost here.
I don't think it's possible.
And the sign said, "Welcome to Niagara Falls, New York." We are kind of meandering around looking
street are we
for Canada.
Okay.
Where is it? Where did they put it?
Okay.
Where you put it? How you put it?
Shop duty free. Music to my ears.
So, are we in Canada?
We are
On
crossing.
the other side.
We are.
Once we cross the bridge, we will be
It says to change the money over here.
over where?
Somewhere in here. On this side. Don't go to the hotel and change it.
Planet Hollywood.
Now let's see. Over to the left, we see some steaminess. The Niagara River is here, under us, and there's a little tower over there, which
Skyline Inn.
I think has to do. This is a very
Now
lovely
we gotta
setup.
cross through immigration here.
Now we are going to immigration. We are Americans. I have to get my birth certificate and my license. And we are pulling into the immigration.
Which way am I going to go so that once we get out of this?
I don't know. We'll find
I'll
out.
ask you. I'll ask you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Should have asked them.
we are in Canada. Welcome to Canada as it is. 1:04 in the PM, the
Let's think about
24th
how much we want to change.
of September, 2K2. Well, I messed up. I put the tape back in the wrong way around again. So I went over the beginning of the tape, which was Sunday, the 22nd of September. We had left at around 9:19, and we ended up going to Cooperstown, and it was raining and wet. And then we went to stay over in Utica, and it was rainy and wet, and there was a thunderstorm. And now, of course, here we are in Niagara, Canada, right near the Niagara Falls in our room. And my brother and I are sharing a room. My parents have another room next door. We've saved quite a bit of money by canceling hotel reservations in one hotel and finding another one. And we went to eat tonight, which is the 23rd of September on a Monday, at the Skylon Tower, which has a tremendous views of the Niagara Falls, which at night they light up all rainbowy and they change colors to white and rainbows, and they're so pretty. Dinner was expensive. It was like, it came out to $50 each in United States money. I had filet mignon and some jumbo shrimp, and we had escargot, and it was good. We also went on the Maid of the Mists today, and we felt the raw fury and power of nature. It was amazing. The water was cold, but not too cold, and it was windy, and we were in the mist at the base of the falls, and the water tasted sweet as it came from the three of the big lakes. We might do Cave of the Winds, or a few other things, and do some more shopping. And we might get some music on tape too. This is the Living Diary with the Selector. Sade live without the squeaky guitar in the background. You. And that was the song I was thinking about when we were riding in Niagara Falls, riding in the mists of Horseshoe Falls, the Canadian side of Niagara Falls.
Sunshine
104.5 Chum FM. What a powerful piece of music from Lorena McKinnon. It's called The Mummer's Dance. You can find it on her CD, The Book of Secrets.
And Lorena McKinnon is Canadian-born.
It seems to me we could sail together in and out of mystery. Well, I wanna be living for the love of you. All right now, all that I'm giving is for the love of you. You got me, girl. I wanna be living for the love of you. All right now, all that I'm giving is for the love of you. Oh, yes, I am. Paradise I have within.
Taking you back to Roanoke, North Carolina in 1987 in the summer. Time for Nighty Nights. It's 12:35 in the morning and Tuesday. And we're going to be going, well, I don't know. Anyway, Chum FM 104.5 CHUM, because every Canadian radio station begins with a C. That's a good one. Pop music. Alrighty then. It's 10:10 in the AM. It is the 25th.
25th.
Sounds good.
It's the 25th of September on a...
What is that? Where did that come from?
Spray.
Hello.
All of a sudden, it's white, there's not a cloud in the sky.
It's a Wednesday, and we're headed off to Mount Carmel Monastery. And then we're on our way to Toronto. Yesterday, we had a very eventful day. We went to the falls. We were above them, under them, in them, all around them, and here we are at the monastery. That was quick. Well, with a prayerful attitude, we have just emerged from the very peaceful Mount Carmel Monastery and Church with beautiful stained glass windows that remind you of Montreal as we're heading up towards Toronto. Yesterday was a very eventful day. We went underneath and behind the Horseshoe Falls, the Canadian side, the Canadian version of the Cave of the Winds, and we got wet because the balcony goes out to kind of the base of the falls, getting you really close. You can actually see behind the falls. You get wet with spray, you get soaked. Here in Niagara, Canada, they're building up the area. There's going to be casinos. We went to a casino last night, actually, and I won $83 in Canadian. 75 in American. And my brother made a profit of $15. And my parents, what did you lose? 50?
50 Canadian.
50 Canadian.
50 Canadian.
30 American.
Yep. So we had a very fun time, and we saw the falls all lit up again. And let's see what else.
Well, it's Main Street. That takes you right through.
So
I'm sure that if I stayed there long drive, I think so.
What were you playing?
I was hoping that Daddy would get you on the high rise rather than on the low rise.
Caribbean stud. When I saw him, I had 2 $1 chips left. Once those are gone, I'm going to change that another 5.
And I was just on a 25-cent little machine. Cha-ching! Lang go!
Well, that's what we lost on. Oh, 25-cent machine. We probably would have been better off to play the nickel machine.
I don't think they had nickel
Yes,
machines.
they did.
They did? Really? Where were they? Stuffed in a corner somewhere?
Downstairs.
Downstairs in the non-smoking.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm very happy I played the quarters.
You know, you get what you pay for.
Yep.
You pay the dollars, you get bigger dollars. You get like $2, you get bigger $2.
Yep. But the odds are still the same. Doesn't make any difference which one you play.
Right.
That's what they tell you in Vegas.
You gotta make up your mind. How much you want to lose, and when you lose it.
That's the thing. If I lost your $10, that would have been the end of it for me. But instead, I got a profit, and I owe you $10.
Look at the stallion here.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty. It's a white stallion rearing up. Oh, and we went behind the falls into these portals, which literally stare out.
That was great, that was.
through a doorway,
Yeah, I think so.
and you look through.
Yeah, I think it was very.
Yeah.
You can actually see
I am almost positive.
behind the falls. Amazing. It's misty. You really can't see anything. It is translucent. And you feel the power, and sometimes the mist blows in and it swirls like fierce, raging storms. Not much of a photograph to take, but to actually see it live is absolutely amazing. And as you walk through the tunnel to the portals behind the falls, you can feel the vibration, the thunderous vibration, better than any subwoofer of the falls, pounding on the earth, attempting to pound its way in and break the tunnel down. It's amazing. And the other thing was, we stood at the head of the falls and we watched the river flow. It was mesmerizing. You get this feeling that the river is pulling you in so that you can go and tumble over the falls. We're stopping along the way at St. Catherine's for the wine festival there, where we're all going to rinse and spit. Or get drunk. Well, I don't know. Anyway. Oh, somebody's on a wheel-lift tow truck right in front of us. Oh. And the road signs look just like American green and white road signs. The only thing is they don't have curvy corners. The white edges don't have curvy corners. But they do have, they're all rectangular.
Niagara
and they're,
is below us.
Niagara River is below us?
Niagara River.
Very nice. Very nice. Yes, very pretty. Swimwear. Very nice. Well, we tried stopping at St. Catherine's for the wine festival, but that was a bust. Could not find the wine festival. There was nobody there. We're bummed out. So we're back on the QEW and we're heading up to Toronto. Well, that saved us a little bit of time anyway. The time is now 11:10 in the a.m.
Left, you gotta go left. First winery you come to.
Be it good or bad.
Yeah.
We don't know. What's this?
So we're going to try this again. We're going to head up to a winery. We took another exit, and this should be interesting. Well, we just got through touring, or actually tasting the Creekside Winery's wine. Couldn't go for a tour because they are fermenting the grapes, and that means the CO2 levels, the carbon dioxide levels, are very high, and you couldn't go downstairs. Otherwise, you'd faint or die. Well, anyway, we had all sorts of different styles of wine, including a wine variety called ice wine, which is wine grapes that are harvested at the coldest point of the year when they're frozen solid, and then they're squeezed out, and you get this very sweet, wonderful dessert type of wine. And we had some crackers with wine jellies. I had
Jelly was spicy. Oh my.
Ice on Fire, it was called.
I didn't touch that.
It was the ice wine turned into jelly, and she added jalapeno peppers to it.
Oh my God, I didn't know what I was eating, but I loved it.
It was very good. It was shocking, was what it was. Then the little red wine jelly. And we didn't exactly rinse and spit. What we did was we rinsed and we swallowed, so now we're all a little knackered. Anyway, we're going on to a winery, hopefully, where we'll be able to actually tour the whole thing and see the big barrels and so forth. And Lake Ontario is to our right, very, very big. Well, here we are in Toronto, and we're staying at a Comfort Suites, and it's beautiful and sunny out right now. It is the 26th of September on a Thursday, 7:57 in the morning. No, that's wrong. That is completely wrong. My clock is wrong. My watch says it is now 9:40 in the a.m. and we're going on a duck tour, or what they call a hippo tour, which is one of those amphibious vehicles that goes through the streets and then lands up in the water. And then we're going to the ultra-tall CN Tower to have lunch and admire the view and stand on the transparent glass floor looking way down, however high the tower is. It's very, very, one of the highest freestanding structures in at least America or the North Americas. And that's it for now. And now you're going to hear my mom snoring while we're sleeping. Well, we had it slam into a stop. It is September 27th, 2K2 on a Friday, 11:25 in the a.m. And we are now going to be leaving a very rainy and cloudy Toronto. Temperatures are 18 degrees Celsius, which is around, 68, somewhere around there. The tops of the buildings are hidden in the clouds, which means the CN Tower has probably disappeared completely. We're on our way to the winery road or something, a road filled with Canadian wineries, and we're going to see how the process is done. We're going to have some wine tastings, rinse and spit, swallow a little, maybe get a little snackered, I don't know. And then we're going to be moving on to Niagara Falls, Canada, to cash in our Canadian chips and do some duty-free shopping and get our TSP, VAT, whatever taxes refunded. And then we'll be heading on to New York. And tomorrow, which is a Saturday, we will be going to the Howe Caverns to visit and see the natural wonders inside the belly of the great earth that we live in. We'll see the stalactites and the stalagmites, things that go up, things that go down, and all sorts of stuff all around. And that's our update for now.
Marriage is made in heaven.
Yeah.
So they had Korean wedding costumes, Indian, Vietnamese, Cambodian, Japanese, Moldavian,
Moroccan,
Moroccan.
the Bata, which is the shoe museum here in Toronto. The Bata
There
Museum.
were like maybe 15 different bride and groom pictures. And they all have the same ceremony of throwing shoes. When somebody fixes you up, because most of these marriages were fix-ups, and that's where the throwing shoes in a wedding comes from.
Oh, yeah?
When somebody fixes you up and you marry that person, you bring them a pair of shoes. In all cases, it's handmade from the leather to the punchwork and the bejeweling and all the rest of it that goes into it.
It was exquisite. And they had some really tall ones, like really tall.
Yeah.
The only way you could hold the shoe on your foot was there's a ball or something that your big toe and your middle toe go into.
Oh, wow.
And you have to squeeze it between. I can't imagine walking in those shoes. They must have been either for standing still or riding in a carriage and walking a couple of steps up a ramp or something.
And they showed the oriental foot, the women who had their feet bound,
The lotus foot.
and how it went down like this, and they had it bound in. And they said that the one whose feet were the smallest and they were the least able to walk, they brought the highest price and the highest acclaim to the husband, because the less work they were capable of doing, the more certainty he had a supply.
Wow. You certainly don't want to go up there today.
No? Where is it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Yes.
Yesterday was okay. The day before.
Well, now I can see the top. All of a sudden it's clear.
We're looking at the CN Tower, and the clouds are going by.
You see it?
Yeah, I can see it through the sunroof.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it gets caught in some clouds that are just at the right level. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess they're all going to have to cancel their trip.
No, they'll go.
Bummer.
They'll be able to see the city, but they won't be able to see the island.
And that's what we did yesterday. We went to the CN Tower and we had lunch in their restaurant 360, or 360 as it were. Then we went out to the glass floor, laid on there, and you can see straight down. The roof takes about 20 minutes to open. My brother and my father went on a tour of the Sky Dome yesterday, and unexpectedly, the roof was opened for them. It took about 20 minutes, and they got to go all around the stadium and enjoy a great tour. And then we went to the shoe museum. See, the ladies had the shoes, and the guys had the sports. So it was all very sexist. So it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 degrees Celsius. It is kind of cool, and it is pouring. We're on the QEW, which is the main highway that takes us up and around. And there's a billboard with a big television screen that actually shows live pictures, or commercials, actually. Now, I noticed when Michael isn't snoring, he breathes like Darth Vader.
That's a sign. How do you know it was me? Because Mom was sounding like that.
Because it was on the left.
Was I snoring?
You were snoring.
You were.
I had a terrible night.
You were snoring. You were snoring.
I woke
You were
up at
snoring.
like
Yes, you were.
1:30,
Yes, you were.
and I didn't fall back to sleep again until like 2:30, quarter of 3.
Wow. Yeah,
My
Mike's.
lip was sore, my leg was drained.
Yeah, Mike's.
The bed was comfortable.
It was. It was. Yeah, it was. But Mike's like. He's
But then what woke me was the thing that kept shutting off and going on, shutting off and going on.
Yeah, I heard that this morning.
That was blowing on me.
Nobody wants to be, but I like it.
It was comfortable. It's just noisy.
locked in on radio station 103.5 from the latest MC Mario CD, Original 3 and Corey Hart, and Sunglasses Night. Rolling non-stop here with Tony Monaco. Thanks so much for your phone calls.
Well, that's a rich noise. Now, that was a Canadian mix. That song would make Corey Hart, well, he's a Canadian native. Yeah, that's ironic because they had that addition or subtraction of 32. 32 is freezing in Fahrenheit, zeros.
One would be 33.
It's calibrated differently.
42.
So currently it's 50 degrees out right now, Fahrenheit. 220 Kelvin, whatever. And we were definitely flashing back to Las Vegas 2 years ago in 2000.
7 is 45.
And I got a picture of a CAA, or Canadian Automobile Association, the equivalent of AAA, tow truck. And they're trying to figure out the math, because we just filled up the tank with petrol. And they go by the quarts here, royal quarts.
32 is 90.
It doesn't go in any kind of...
So bottom line, how much did you pay per gallon?
73 cents.
73 cents per gallon?
No, per liter.
Per liter. So how much would that be in the States?
Well, liters, you put in 50 liters.
We don't know.
50 liters, right? I'll say 50 liters times 73. 74. That can't be right.
It's 370.
370. A gallon?
Divided by 13.
Jeez. 370 a gallon?
I'm trying to figure out how much you pay in dollars. If it was 73 cents per liter, and you put in 50 liters.
It came out to $35. Right? Wasn't it $35?
Yeah, 5, 7 to 30. That's right. So it's 73 cents a liter. Okay. That's...
So $35.
Right.
Divide that by 13.
You have a 13-gallon tank?
Well, I think he's rounding off.
Like 2 and a half.
That's what they're getting for, that's what their price of gas is per gallon.
$2 and
change.
And change. Ew. $2.33 a gallon for petrol up here.
Oh, yeah.
And this seems to be a pretty popular song up around here in upstate New York, Niagara, around there, from a group called Coldplay. And seems to be a semi-theme song, at least here on the radio, as we're on the road.
She's a there was a beautiful white horse I saw on a dream stage.
Taking you back to 1981, the very same year that we went to Canada and Montreal. That's Athena from The Who, actually. The Who did that one.
You picked me up by my lapels and screamed, leave her. I felt like waking up in heaven on an empty meter. Just a girl, she's just a girl.
We just went by some woman in her SUV who was singing along with the music. You could see her lips going, wah, 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 wah. Got a little bit of New Order action up here. That's from 1982, the Who backlink tape on Dementia. The same tape with all of those French-Canadian AM radio stations on them. And we went up to Renee Billy's chalet in West Conway, New Hampshire in the winter. Lenny Kravitz on the AM side, 12:20 a.m. I was scanning the AM dial. I heard a talk show in Mandarin Chinese, and then I heard some Indian Hindi language music. homegrown from Canada. There's Rush right there, one of our favorite Canadian groups and or artists. Always did like his guitaring. Angus Young, for those about to rock.
You are my fire, the one desire. You are. Don't wanna hear you say nothing. Ain't nothing but a mistake. I never wanna hear you say, I want it that way.
And we're riding down the road between the grape vineyards. It is harvest season. Some vineyards are ripe for harvesting, others are almost ready, and others have been harvested and have replanted their crops for the coming season. And we're heading towards what's supposed to be a very nice winery, and we'll tell you about that in just a little bit on the Living Diary with the Selector on WMAC in Canada.
So take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot. I wanna take my clothes off. It's getting hot in here. So take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot. I wanna take my clothes off. If only I could get out of here. I just gotta get through this. I gotta get through this. I gotta get through this. I gotta make it, gonna make it, gonna make it through. Said I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna get through this. I gotta take my mind off of you. Give me just a second and I'll be alright. Surely one more moment couldn't break my heart. Give me till tomorrow, then I'll be okay. Just another day and then I'll hold you tight. When your love is pouring like rain, I close my eyes and it's gonna get away when I get a chance to say I love you. I pretend that you're already mine, and my heart ain't breaking every time I look into your eyes. If only I could get through this. If only I could get through this.
Well, it's 2:16, and we stopped at Peller Wine Estates. We had a wine tasting, all the different styles of wines, from ice wine to Pinot Grigio to Chardonnay. And we went down in the cellar to see the wine casks, which were in French and American oak. And Mom's gone back inside to see if they'll honor some free wine tasting coupons. It's still raining pretty bad here, but the vineyards are beautiful, and the wine was very tasty. Oh, she got a smile on her face.
I got out of there with the skin of my nose.
Why? Oh?
Because she started to add up what we tasted, and it came out to $17.
Really?
All those tastes?
The Merlot was $4.
For a
Why don't they
taste?
tell you this?
They had a little
They
menu
had a
there.
They had a list.
Yep,
Oh, they did.
they did. You just didn't see it. I did, though.
I didn't see it.
I didn't realize that was the cost of the tasting per taste.
Per taste, that's correct.
There were 4, and they were 2, and they were 1, and it came out to about $17.
What'd
And
she
then
do?
she charged us $5, and the coupon was worth $5. So technically we owed her $7, and she said, no, be my guest.
That's all right.
So I'm telling you, I walked out of there with the skin on my nose. I was very lucky.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Do you want a picture of this?
No.
So we paid the $5. And
Yeah.
the coupon was for $5.
Yeah, well, she only
She gave
charged
us-
us
gave us
$5
a-
anyway.
Yeah.
And she said if she'd known the coupon was there, it would have been, who knows. Anyway,
So there you go.
that's how they do it.
And we're back in Niagara Falls, Canadian side. It is now 2:45 in the p.m. And we're in the clouds and the rain, and we can see Niagara Falls, Canada's equivalent of the CN Tower. Sort of the mist topping it off. Low cloud ceiling.
No, that's not the CN.
We know, it's the Skyline Tower.
Skyline.
I was saying it's the CN equivalent. And there are lots of construction going on here, and lots of cranes, big cranes. And this place seems to be biffy. Spiffy biffy. Under constant construction and growth and development. We're on our way to lunch, and then we're going to have a jaunt in the duty-free shop and cash out our chips. Now we're just getting ready to cross over back from Canada into the United States. We've got all of our information here ready. Birth certificates, driver's licenses, some visas. And we just got through shopping at the duty-free shop. I got myself a couple of maple leaf earrings that look very fall-like, which I've wanted for a long time, and some Wish perfume. Bye-bye, Niagara Falls. They're all steamy, very steamy. The clouds of steam are reaching up to the clouds in the sky. And here we go, crossing over in the Niagara River and across the Niagara Bridge. At 4:30, we had leper for lunch at TGI Fridays. Yeah, we've cleared customs. Well, I flashed mine. You wanted to know who I was, though. Welcome to New York State, Niagara, on the United States side. Just stuffing things back in my... Yes.
This is yours.
All right, thank you. All of my credit receipts. And with all the money that I spent, I got $10.50 back because they give you a refund if you spend more than $50 in Canada, individually speaking. All right, now I'm having chili twizzlers because they make mouths happy. And still raining, and we're going to be driving to Syracuse. So that should take a couple of hours, provided that we don't run into that little accident with a truck fell over on Route 90. The what? Lake Erie.
That's Lake Erie.
15 miles.
Like Erie.
Why are we on that one?
15 miles down the Erie Canal. And the theme lettering up in Canada for the week that we were there was Old Olive Ultra, the same kind of font or typeface that's on the TSP sign, Radio Shack, America's Technology Store sign that I have. We're very happy about that. By the power of Grayskull, I am He-Man! No, wait a minute, that isn't right. Going by a power plant right now, and that's got to do, of course, with the Niagara Falls. What is that?
Our authority water intakes
Oh,
over the lake. So these are what intakes.
huh. Well, I didn't get anything. Let's try that again as we're walking into the second side of this kind of tape. Well, I didn't get any pictures of any Canadian highway road signs like I wanted to, but they are green and white, and they do look almost exactly like American road signs. The font or the typeface highway font is still the same type, but some of the signs are just rectangular with no curvy corners, and the ones up here in New York are just plain curvy corners. So they're cute, but we didn't get any pictures of them. We're sorry.
It's not a tool.
When I'm out walking, I strut my stuff, and I'm so strung out. I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. Let me go on, like I blister in the sun. Let me go on. Big hands, I know you're the one. Body and beats, I stain my sheets, I don't even know why. My girlfriend, she's at the end, she is starting to cry. Let me go on, like I blister in the sun. Let me go on. Big hands, I know you're the one. When I'm out walking, I strut my stuff, and I'm so strung out. I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. When I'm out walking, I strut my stuff, and I'm so strung out. And I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. Body and beats, I stain my sheets, I don't even know why. My girlfriend, she's at the end, she is starting to cry. When I'm walking, stop, and I'm so strung out. I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. Let me go on, like I blister in the sun. Let me go on. Big hands, I know you're the one.
Violent Femmes. It's a station world famous for the 80s, 105.1 The River. It's Mike Ryan here, gearing up for the drive home. It's just...
And that's actually the third version of that song I have ever heard.
0% APR financing for 60 months on almost every 2002 Dodge in stock. And it means every day.
Yeah, here's a cool highway road sign song.
Grab something that works for you. 0% financing and our 770.
Blah, 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 blah.
Every dawn becomes a new day. Time to love, time to cry. Every river knows its own way, and it's the same for you and I. Every heart must have a reason, a winding road, a midnight flight.
English, freedom. I'm Rob Stoddard on the way home with you on Life FM WDCX, your resource for music from local Christian artists.
What the sound is, darling, that's the sound of my tears falling. Or is it the rain? You know how to play this game. You cheat and you lie. You make me wanna cry. You make me wanna cry. You don't even know how to say
Chum FM Toronto. It's 5:31, and now here with the news.
So that was an interesting new version. Good tune going on back here. Very good tune. And Chum FM actually has their transmitter on top of the CN Tower. We are well beyond Buffalo, New York, on the New York Thruway, and we're still getting the station, although we're beginning to lose it a little bit. We were actually in Rochester at the time. Okay. 410 roof! Rested. Riding into the rain, and visibility has dropped down considerably. It seems to me that Hurricane Isidore from New Orleans has clouds that stretch all the way up the eastern seaboard. They're covering over New England and Boston. And we are riding deeper and deeper into that cloud group and that rain. It's pretty bad. So we're going to be staying over somewhere since we find a exit 37 or 38. Hopefully, we'll arrive there safely. And taking you back to 1983 when we went to New York City. The safety dance as we were crossing the Brooklyn Bridge. Well, it's 5 after 9 and we're right on schedule. The 28th of September on a Saturday. And we're having some leftover bread from the night before at this marvelous restaurant called Pier 47.
57?
Pier 57. I'm bad with numbers. We were staying here. This is, I believe, either Liverpool or Clay, just outside of Syracuse. Now we're going to go back on the highway and head off to the Howe Caverns. This is the Living Diary on the road. Well, in the official snore report, Michael's snoring took on a new dimension.
And what was that dimension?
Well, it was loud, and then when he exhaled, it sounded like a balloon losing its gas. I thought there was a compressor. Yeah. Or he had gas or something.
Well, let me offer you an alternative solution to this problem.
What?
You get each rental $180. So what do you think, man?
Well, I slept very well, but it was just so funny because he falls asleep much quicker than I do. I wish I could do that. So I get the treat of his snoring while I'm trying to drift off, and he's going snore. I've never heard a sound like this in my entire life.
Thinking about all the things he has to do. Gotta guess.
I hate to say, once you fall asleep, there's no limits to your interpretation.
Oh, really?
The sky and beyond.
Oh, really?
This is the part, darling,
You were snoring up a pretty good storm.
Oh my goodness.
You went off rapid fire, I don't know.
Oh dear. That's awful.
Yeah, it was.
Every time I woke up, I just slept deeply.
That's good.
I don't know. I'm with it today. Something I didn't sleep too good. I was up 3 times during the night. I just didn't sleep good.
Oh, this time I got up at 7:19. And I went to shut the light at 11:36. Very quickly. I had 8 hours sleep. Good.
Well, we went to bed out right at 11.
I shut the TV at 11 after that horrid show I was watching.
What were you watching?
Murder and robbery.
Ew.
Robbery and murder.
We were watching the History Channel. Amazing Machines, the history of the modern kitchen. It was very interesting.
This was, I don't know, it was supposed to be brown. You know, life is brown in LA type of thing.
That was your concessions to each other?
Yeah.
History Channel?
Yeah. Well, they did have the Cartoon Network.
Yeah, but Michael didn't want to watch that.
I didn't want to put him through that.
I was in the shower. She could have had a good half hour to do whatever she wanted.
And The Sopranos was a repeat, but like I'm gonna watch The Sopranos, right?
Sopranos was a repeat?
It was brand new.
Yeah, they repeated.
Oh, they repeat Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would have been brand new. You wouldn't have seen it.
No. She wouldn't have watched it.
No way. Quarter flash, flashing back to 1982 as we are bopping along on the New York Thruway on a cloudy, sort of drizzly day. I would say temperatures are around 58, 60 degrees, somewhere around there. This is our first experience on the road with the Easy Pass, or Smart Lane transponder, which allows us to go through the toll booths without actually having cash change hands. Makes the process much quicker. You just load it up with money from your credit card, and you just go. And it's worked both in Canada and here in New York State. It's made travel a lot smoother and a lot quicker. 9:55, and we're just going through Utica now. That's a cool name, isn't it? 17 minutes of 3, and we're all having apples for dessert. And we just came out of the Howe Caverns, and it was gorgeous. It was like being in the womb, kind of eerily lit with different colored lights, all the stalactites and stalagmites, and the river that carved it out. I had a little taste of that river, which they called the River Styx, which is basically groundwater, seeking the lowest point at the bottom of the valley underground. And it was very filled with minerals, but it tasted lovely, sweet, minerally. If you drink a lot of it, because of the minerals, it acts as a natural laxative, so we didn't have too much. And it was just like being in the womb. It was peaceful, calm, with the feeling of Mother Earth around you as you're in her womb. Oh, it was just splendid. Now we're on our way to Western Massachusetts.
Time 92.
And we'd like to welcome you to Albany, the capital of New York State. Yay! We just went by a little strip mall, and one of the stores had the Lechmere sign on it. What is going on here? As we are in Schenectady, Albany, at 11 after 3. So we stopped in beautiful downtown Troy, New York at 3:40. We filled up the tank, and of course I went to the bathroom. What else is new? And we are on Route 2 taking a leisurely ride into Williamstown, which is a home of a modern art museum or something like that in Massachusetts. We're still in New York. In fact, we are very near the corner of 3 states, New York, Vermont, and Massachusetts. And we'll be going along Route 2 through the Berkshires, enjoying their beauty.
Massachusetts.
Welcome to Massachusetts at 4:14 in the p.m. We are now in Williamstown, and I do have Sprint service on my phone. Yay! Welcome to Massachusetts right now. Well, we stopped at the Clark Museum in Williamstown, home of Williams University or College. It is now 5 after 5, And we're riding along the Mohawk Trail with the sun slowly setting in the west. Alright, we're going to come out to the hairpin turn. Sprint coverage out here in North Adams is very spotty. Right now I don't have any service. And look at the view. We've got a beautiful view. Look at the view.
Where you go upstairs?
Wow! Wow! It's gorgeous. Look at that view. That was some turn as we're going uphill. Chew your gum, pop your ears.
Not anyway, because it would have rolled to right here, and then it would
We
have...
would have rolled back and then over the fence. And hit the other car. Or gone over the fence.
No, it wouldn't have... It would have stopped.
Mike got out of the car and it was still running. He put the emergency brake on, but that didn't work because the car stalled out and then started rolling backwards into the road. So it was... We're entering Florida?
Yeah. Welcome to Florida.
Wow.
Florida, Massachusetts.
That's interesting. We stopped at a view. We're in Massachusetts, but we viewed New York and Vermont. You just couldn't see the boundary lines because they didn't put them on the land. The sun is still setting, and we are in Florida, Massachusetts. Here comes another big turn. Well, not really that big. But you can see a magnificent view. And we've got New York Station from Albany, New York, still managing to come in. Up. 99.5. Ew! Now we've got WKLB. As we went over the mountain, Albany radio station disappeared. And 99.5 WKLB from Boston came on. Ew! No Sprint service. We are in Savoy, Massachusetts. 103.7 WKNE is playing a mix of hits. We are between the mountains, so no signal, except for the radio, can get in, and no Sprint signal can get in. What else is new?
We haven't hit the center of the state yet.
We went over the Cold River and the Mohawk National Park, all around us. The sunlight glinting off the trees.
Too. Somebody went in there, jumped in, or fell in and went,
Cold River.
Michael has a ski trail ahead of you, see it?
Oh, look at that. Ski trail up in a mountain ahead of us. We went over the Cold River and the Mohawk National Park, all around us. The sunlight glinting off the trees. Alright, so this is Route 2, looking more like a highway.
She had the best voice on earth.
7 after 6 in the AM. And I got Sprint service now, because we're out of the mountains. W.M.A.C. Pretty good tunage going on here. Now we are in Irving, Massachusetts, Irving. And I believe that I can get 104.5 WXLO. Oh, I just roll back flatbed. Yep, that is Irving. Well, we're in Orange, Massachusetts. Orange, you glad?
Now we're in Wendell.
Now we're in Wendell. Wendell, aren't you glad? No, wait, that was mine. That joke did not have appeal. And now we're back in Orange again. Jeez, I'm getting dizzy. It's almost 6:30. And I was correct, that is WXLO. And Orange, Massachusetts is where they do a lot of the parachute jumping.
Left you by the house of fun. Don't know why I didn't come back.
It's entirely possible that this station, WKNE 103.7. Oh, we're in Belchertown. Hey. Whew. I'm telling you.
It's called Glebsville.
Glebsville. They have Glebsi-Cola. It's very possible that this is the same one that we get from time to time back home. Very rarely, though. We're in Athol, folks. We were there. Actually, no, we weren't there. We went through there. We went to Air. What's that? The middle part of the state. We're surfing now. Possibly mix 98.5. Kiss 108. Back on the airwaves. Oh, we're back in its range, actually. Well, coming out of Gardner, it's B106. I have no Sprint service here. I had some in Gardner, but a little while back on Route 2, but now it's gone. 4 minutes before the hour of 7, and the sun has completely set. Just entering the outer limits of Leominster and Fitchburg, and all of a sudden, oh, I've got Sprint service. Yay! Very irregular Sprint service, very spotty. Here on Route 2 in Fitchburg, around there, it seems to be popping in and out. All right. Well, anyway, we do have Sprint service in Littleton, Gardner. This is Littleton, I think. Roadside half mile. Yep. West Acton and Littleton, we do have Sprint service, which is getting a little bit more dependable. Bottom line is, the further out west you go, the less dependable it is on Route 2. Attleboro, 1 mile. We are on Route 2 still. It is 7:30, and we're going to be taking the exit. Yeah. 7:35.
Getting hungry?
Yes. All right. Yep.
One positive response. Are you a positive response?
You pick it.
Eat there, yeah.
Walk in and eat fast.
We're discussing dinner now.
Pizza, baby.
Unless you want to call ahead and order pizza, bring it to us.
No.
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 I don't know what state the house is in.
Yeah, that's true. It may need to be aired out.
Yeah.
Yum, yum, yum.
You make yourself a photograph and laugh at me. Please. I know there's little use crying. It's more wide awake and dying than I'm used to. Thought we'd walk these streets together. Now I'm hoping that I'll never have to meet you. You step aside. All this anger, somewhere in between, I can feel you. Oh. Ask me, should we try again? I'm thinking, no, you know, it's not what I believe in. It's not what I believe. You make yourself a photograph, you laugh at me. You make yourself a photograph, you laugh at me. No, I wanna taste your love. No, I yourself a photograph, you laugh at me. No, I wanna taste your love. No, I was alive from the first. I'm denied by the ghost of you.
Howie Day, Ghosts. That's WBOS's live from Studio C version. Unbelievable mix. Just a couple of foot pedals, a guitar, and some vocals. Well, for all intents, we are pretty much home. We're about ready to go to dinner, provided we can get in. It's 8 minutes of 8 in the PM. Welcome home from the Living Diary. We're home now. Wasn't that an awesome trip to Canada and to New York? And we're just sitting here in the apartment and we're chilling out. And thanks for joining us for this edition of the Living Diary. We're sorry we couldn't get more music, but we had a lot of interesting anecdotes and so forth, and certain family members with bad cases of snoring problems. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the trip. Thanks for joining us on the Living Diary, WMAC, with the Selector.
Well, that sure was a fun trip. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I got all of that dialogue and everything and not just music. What a great recording of the whole family interacting in the car as we drove through New York State to Toronto and back. You know, as I get older and the family starts dying off, we lost Mom on June 12th of 2017 and Dad on January 19th, 2020. Recordings like these are really nice memories to listen to. This was the We're Off to Upstate New York and Canada tape, specifically Niagara Falls and Toronto, amongst other great places in New York State. This was a Maxell SDH-110-minute super high definition chromium gold and black analog audio tape. So it was 55 minutes per side, basically. This was recorded on an Aiwa mini boombox I bought at Radio Shack. It was kind of underpowered and the motor not very durable over time. Even on this tape, it sounds a little dodgy, kind of like... The audio frequency reproduction is terrible. I had to EQ the radio music tracks because they sounded like a telephone, like the voice track, which was left flat. I tried EQing that and got nothing out of it, and it's just stuck there at like 1,000 hertz, or whatever it is. The radio music track's equalization curve goes straight across from the low end all the way to the low mid and high mid ranges and then drops off like a rock. The boost was plus 9 dB at 970 hertz, but there was too much compression on many of those radio stations. And the trip was about a week long, and it started September 22nd, 2002, and it is the 9th of June, 2018. To get into Canada, we needed our driver's licenses and birth certificates. Well, Toronto was huge and a very cosmopolitan city. Toronto had moose sculptures by different artists all over the city. The moose is the city's mascot, and it was at the time that Boston was also doing the magic codfish all around the city, designed by different artists and very creative. Well, across from the CN Tower, where we ate lunch in the revolving restaurant, and where I laid on the windows that look straight down to the ground and to the Sky Dome, which we saw with the roof closed and then with the roof open. And Mom was watching me on the windows looking straight down and going, maybe you should just stand on the regular floor. We saw across the street the headquarters of the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. That was cool. I was like, oh, there it is. Now the QEW is the Queen Elizabeth Way. And what was up with all the wine tastings? I'm not a drinker, especially with the meds I'm on, but even with the small tastes, I got a little giddy. Or snackered, as I used to say. At the final winery with all the expensive wine tastings, I bought some gourmet pasta from Italy, and it was very good. On the Canadian side of Niagara Falls, we could see on the American side Niagara, New York, with a big balloon floating over it with the I Love New York logo on it. Advertised much? And it was so cool. to see the falls lit up at night with the colors of the rainbow. Well, we just found out that in 2016 they upgraded their whole entire lighting system to an LED array and new computer light system drivers and software and equipment. And now it's like 65% brighter, and they can do aurora borealises and sunrises and sunsets and all sorts of wonderful things that they couldn't do before with the basic spotlight and colored gels lighting system. So that was cool to know. I was in the first couple of years after converting to neo-paganism in 1998 as a result of finally being comfortable with following the goddess path on the Maid of the Mist, which sails to the foot of the falls almost. I could feel the power of Mama Nature with the Niagara Falls and the water against my skin. It was incredible. I privately thought that during the summer they should do nude boat rides. It's so sensual. Well, they could never do that. Everybody get arrested twice, once on the Canadian side and another time on the United States side. I had a cold and some PMS, so I was pretty fatigued. I stood next to the top of the falls, leaning safely on a railing. I reached out my hands to the rushing water, trying to absorb some of its energy to spiritually and physically recharge myself. Well, it worked a little. Oh, and the flowers and the plants around the place were gorgeous. Canada has very nice summers, and we also went to a butterfly aviary or whatever nearby. I don't remember the name of it, but there were butterflies all over the place inside, and it was just so wonderful. And a butterfly landed on Mom's visor that she had on, and I guess it was attracted to her perfume, which was called Allure. Wonderful, but expensive. And I have pictures of us outside the butterfly place where there was a gigantic clock made up of flowers, and it was a working clock. However, it wasn't working the day that we were there. In fact, one of the pictures has a couple of maintenance men on a ladder working on it in the background of us. I said it would be very hard to work on fixing the clock if it was running. The maintenance men would have to jump over the sweep hand every 60 seconds. And we had a ridiculously hard time trying to figure out the math on the petrol. Imperial liters? Royal liters? What? Huh? And it's 30 degrees out. Why am I so hot? Oh, all those millipedes and centipedes. I don't know what we're going to do. I was a little under the weather and needed some cold meds, so I went in the rain diagonally across the street from our downtown hotel to a pharmacy. And my mom was suffering from a cold sore as well. It was really cool because it's so cold in Canada over the winter that they actually have things underground. Like they have giant malls that they've built underground and passageways to get to different buildings underground. So we went to a mall and I went to a GNC. And we have a GNC here in America as well. They sell all sorts of nutritional supplements and protein powders and whatnot. And I was going there to get some echinacea to deal with my cold. I also had a little bit of PMS, and I had taken some black cohosh for that. And after we came back home from Canada, my period hit me with a vengeance. So I was kind of a little under the weather and pretty much tired and fatigued, but that really did not get in the way. Anyway, that burst of independence of me not being in the States, just going to the pharmacy, well, actually, going to Canada for most Americans is international travel with training wheels. And being able to do my business easily with no fear reminded me of our first trip to Canada in 1981. Montreal we went to, the whole family. Now, being 12, I suffered the usual pangs of adolescence. 7th grade was bleh, along with a depression disorder that I've had my whole life. And to further that, the oppression I had to deal with object personification synesthesia. Jeez, talk about comorbidities. Well, going to a different place, not just a different state, but a different nation, was liberating. Even the objects my synesthesia was attracted to were kind and respectful, unlike what I was dealing with back at home. Oh, it was so oppressive back at home. I felt strong, emboldened, fearless. I remember walking 30 feet ahead of my family as we enjoyed Montreal by night. Montreal. That was very different for me. I felt safe. Well, within reason, it's a city. I brought back allies, object entity allies, to fight the oppression of the local inanimate object personalities that were kind of beating on me. I was dealing not only with objects, but I was dealing with humans as well, kind of beating on me, as it were. Well, while I still had many rough years ahead, a huge change had taken place in me in Canada, and I will always have a great affection for our neighbor to the north. I kept all of that in mind when we went again in 2002, arriving there with a spirit of thankfulness to those Canadian object spirits, some no longer in existence. Well, our object personification synesthesia sure liked tow trucks back then. On this trip, my brother drove us in his little car. It was pretty small, hence the steerage jokes. Mom was in front because if she was in back, she'd get car sick, and that would just be nasty. And Dad, with his long legs, was in the back seat with me and some of our luggage. I fit perfectly, naturally. Now, at the time, I had this really skinny Sanyo 4000 cell phone. I really liked it. It was a great phone. And I was using the Sprint cell network with a coverage area at the time the size of a postage stamp. I called that my trim-style phone, with the holographic unicorn sticker screen protector that only I could see through, and this little diamondy dangly thing on the antenna for a little bling. Mike brought his phone too, and in Toronto, it rang, and I said, "Don't answer it. You're on international roaming, and it will cost you an arm and a leg to use it." Curiosity got the better of him. I think it was a telemarketer's call. Ouch, what a waste. And the Sprint cell phone service area report was very interesting. Back then they didn't have much of a coverage area, so you had to stay along all of the major highways and metropolitan areas to get them. In the Howe Caverns, our guide was really funny. He was going to college, and he was planning on hiking the Appalachian Trail. So when he first came out, there's lighting all around the Howe Caverns. I think that we were like 500 feet below ground, and it was so cozy, and we got to touch a stalagmite, and there was an area where you could stand on a pink quartz heart that was uplighted, and a lot of people got married there. In fact, the legend went, if you step on that heart, you will get married in some time. Well, at the time, my brother gave it a wide berth. And for me, well, I'm really not a big marriage fan, so it didn't bother me to step on it, and I knew that wasn't going to happen anyway. So one of the lights was in a little cubby hole area way up high, and it was a blue light. And the guide said, "Oh, hey, I just came downstairs from my room up there. You can see the TV still on," because it was a blue light. We were all dying. And then he said the last tour guide at the end of the day has to shut the lights off before he or she leaves the cavern. This is what it looks like when I leave. And he shuts off all the lights, and it is black like coal. I mean, well, of course, you're underground and you can't see anything. So he goes, and this is me with my flashlight. And he's running and he's running and he's running. He's making it look like he's running with his flashlight, like he was completely terrified. And we were all cracking up. Oh, he was really, really good. And so that was our adventure at the Howe Caverns. Well, we had interesting music. Some songs I've never heard before. Not so sure I like the cover of Godley and Cream's Cry, though. Yeah, doesn't do it justice. Coming back home, I'm glad that I got the 92.9 WBOS Boston, Massachusetts version of Howie Day's Ghost. It's the best version, period. 5 songs needed to be upgraded because they sounded terrible as a result of poor reception and whatever else. Gotta Get Through This, the D&D radio edit by Daniel Bedingfield. Also In My Place by Coldplay, Blister in the Sun by the Violent Femmes, and Love at First Sight by Kylie Minogue. I got a great song bit of a techno version of an extended remix of Sunglasses at Night that was authorized by Canada's own Corey Hart in 2002. It's on a compilation album called Party Mix Canada. Well, guess what? I finally found that version and downloaded it, so now it's upgraded. I've never heard that version in the United States. WMAC travels all over the place for great tunes you'll otherwise never hear in your area, even if it means we have to visit another nation. Also upgraded Coldplay's In My Place, since it was fairly constant on the radio, and I do like that song. And a song I've wanted for ages but completely forgot about, Daniel Bedingfield's Gotta Get Through This, the D&D Mix radio edit. I love all of the other songs I heard on the radio that were flashing back to previous living diaries. That was cool. And he performed it at WBOS Studio C that year, during the summer, I believe. Here's a rundown of some of the stations that we were listening to. My favorite radio station to listen to there was 104.5 Chum, actually, CHUM. It made me think about chum like what you feed fish or something like that. Or your best buddy old chum. The station that started off with the 1980s music was 105.1 The River, CJED. Canadian radio and TV stations start with a C. American ones start with W's and K's, depending on which side of the Mississippi River you're on. So they were from Niagara, Canada. And after that, we had 105.9, which was at the time WLTI Light 105.9, and as of 2010 became WXTL The Rebel. Syracuse, New York, playing classic rock. Then we were boogieing down in steerage to the disco tunes of the former 107.3 Cool 107 WLCL in South Bristol, New York. Now it's called WNBL, after a gazillion format changes. When we were heading back from New York through Western and then onwards to Eastern Massachusetts, we still managed to get 92.5 CKIS, Toronto. It's like a border blaster radio station. I mean, it got everywhere. Their liner was they were KISS 92, and they were hot AC. 99.5 WDCX was from Buffalo, New York. They had some Christian programming. And WFLY 92.3 was Fly 92 from Troy, New York. They played top 40. And 99.5 WRVE was from Schenectady, New York, playing hot AC. They were overtaken by WKLB in Boston, playing C&W music. That's why I went, ew, as soon as we got over a mountain. Pretty strong signal. And then we heard B106 in Gardner, Massachusetts. But I can't seem to find them on Radio Locator. They're no longer in existence. In fact, a low-power radio station, an AM translator, is currently on that frequency. Whoops, squeaky. Well, anyway, I sure hope that you enjoyed this wonderful travel tape that I will always cherish because it's with my family and we had so much fun and we travel very well together. Well, you know, these are just great memories. So thanks for joining us.